Welcome to Spiritual Dialogues with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
Yes, Father, from the last episode and all these happenings, these people losing their faith, we should not be discouraged, I feel, because the true church does exist. It will never cease to exist. And the only one that standing there that will eventually cease to exist, I hope, is the institutional church. Is that right, Father?
Yes, with the confusion that is going on right now in the Catholic Church, we are observing the reactions of Catholics, and we are primarily interested in the reactions of the Catholics. That there are some Catholics, of course, are finding themselves confused. Just remain in their confusion, and that's wrong. Whenever there is a confusion, you're supposed to resolve this confusion. And that's why we have this program, because we're trying to resolve the confusion that is occurring in the minds of Catholics. And there are some other Catholics who are reacting in a more violent way, in the sense that they leave the Catholic Church. And where do they go? We don't know. And as you said, Sister Tachi, the Catholic Church will always exist. It will never cease to exist. And so, if you find confusion in the Catholic Church, especially we have noticed that the Catholic Church, the institutional Catholic Church of the present papacy, only the present.
Present, yes, that's clear, Father.
The institutional church of the present papacy is turning to become Protestant. The natural thing to do is to leave it.
Yes.
Because you cannot save your soul in a Protestant sect.
Yes, that's clear.
So if the Catholic institutional church has become Protestant, you must leave it. But what must you do? You must look for the true church, because as Tachi says, the Catholic Church continues to exist. It is surely going to be somewhere. And we mentioned in the last program the parables of Jesus Christ about the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And these parables are all about the Catholic Church, all about the Catholic Church. And there is a parable wherein Christ loaned the vineyard, which is the Catholic Church, to some farmers, and they did a very bad job. And so, in short, Christ took away the vineyard from them.
Yes.
And gave it to another who would faithfully tend to the vineyard. Now, why did Christ take away the vineyard from the first group? Well, because they were unfaithful. They were called unfaithful servants. That's how the parable described them. And why did Christ give it to another? Because they were not faithful servants, but they were going to be faithful servants. Now, what we're noticing now that is happening in the Catholic Church is that it has become an unfaithful servant. The institutional Catholic Church of the present papacy has become an unfaithful servant. And I'm not the one saying that. Because Joseph Ratzinger, when he was still the head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, wrote a book, the Ratzinger Report, and described the problem in the Catholic Church as the crisis of faith. Crisis of faith, which means the people in the Catholic Church, the men of the Catholic Church, were unfaithful servants. They were not faithful. It's a problem of faith. It's a crisis of faith, so they are unfaithful servants. And since the present institutional church of the present papacy are behaving like unfaithful servants, there is a great possibility that Christ would take away the vineyard from them and give it to another who will tend the vineyard in a faithful way.
Unfaithful means they're not living the teaching of Christ.
The life of faith is short, or the commandments and the dogmas taught by Christ, yes.
And that's clear from all the statements being published
Yeah, that's
everywhere.
very-
It's clear. I mean, we're
very
not
clear.
guessing.
When in Morocco, one says, do not evangelize, and yet the last chapter of Matthew, Christ personally said to evangelize, then it's clearly
Yeah.
against the teaching
Sure.
of Christ, very clearly against.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Father,
And so the reaction of the convert from the Orthodox who became Catholic and then left the Catholic Church to return, probably, I'm not sure, but to return to the Orthodox faith was a bad move. Surely he wanted to be Catholic.
yeah.
And surely he realized that the present institutional church is not Catholic, but is Protestant. He surely saw that. But his response was surely wrong. He should have looked for the other group to whom Christ would have given the vineyard.
Somebody should have told him.
Nobody would tell him because nobody knows.
That's the problem. No?
Nobody knows.
Okay, Father.
And there's a big problem that there is a solution,
Yes, but nobody knows.
but nobody knows where that solution is.
Okay.
Nobody evangelized the correct teaching of Christ.
Well, because it was Christ who looked for the new group,
Yes.
It's Christ who looked for the new church to whom to give the vineyard. He was the one who looked for it. It's not man.
Yes.
It's not the Pope. It's not the Bishop. It's Christ who looked for another group to whom he can entrust the vineyard.
So what is the next step is to look for that new vineyard.
Yeah, you have to look for that new vineyard. Yes, you have to.
And then they'll say, but how will you look? Now then that's the next question. Give the
How do
signs.
you
We have
look?
to have signs.
So you go back to the teaching of Christ. Remember that the old vineyard was the chosen people, the Jews. And Christ found them unfaithful. So Christ removed the church. They were the first church, remember? The chosen people were the first church of Christ, and Christ took away the church from them and gave it to the Gentiles. Now look at the procedure.
Yes, Father.
So the chosen people were the first church, and they were a good church, like Solomon, and David and Abraham. They were good. Moses, they were the first members, and they were good. Only lately, or later on, did they become very unfaithful to the point that they crucified Christ. So only lately,
In the later part, later on.
yeah. Which could happen in the Catholic Church. That we were faithful at the time of St. Augustine, of St. John Borromeo, so on. We were faithful during the time, but now, no more. It could happen. So what happened to the Jews could have happened to the Catholic Church today. So what Christ did was this. Before the members of the old church, the chosen people, before the good members would disappear from the face of the earth, maybe when there are few members were still existing, Christ formed a bridge from the chosen people to the Gentiles. This bridge will be the one who would transfer the church from the chosen people to the Gentiles.
The bridge is sent Paul, who was an apostle to the Gentiles, appointed by Christ.
Well, the bridge is made up of Joseph, Saint Joseph, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and John and Elizabeth, the other saints during that time, and mainly the apostles, 12 apostles, because these were very good Jews.
The 12 apostles.
The 12, they were good members of the chosen people. So they were remnants of the old church, Jews, and they were the one who became the bridge towards the Gentiles.
I see.
So there must be a bridge. You have to look for the bridge because they point to the new church.
But it is very clear in the book, Father, that the
That-
disciple
But-
were the one
With the bridge, but
who will evangelize the teaching of Christ.
Yeah, so they were the bridge.
they're the bridge. Now,
So they were
what's-
formerly-
now.
They were formerly member of the chosen people, and Christ perfected their faith,
That's it. That's it.
perfected their
That's the
faith,
one.
and they brought the faith to the Gentiles. And so the vineyard of the Lord, the church, which was formerly the chosen people, was taken away from them. They ceased to be the church of God. They ceased to be the chosen people. And then the church was transferred to the Gentiles,
Gentile means non-Jews.
non-Jews. And so what we feel is this is happening again in the Catholic Church, in the sense that because the Catholic Church, the present institutional Catholic Church, is unfaithful, meaning to say they are not obeying the commandments of Christ. The last commandment that they disobeyed is to evangelize. That probably God had taken away the vineyard from this institutional Vatican Church and had given it to other Gentiles.
Now,
Other Gentiles.
other
Not
Catholics.
back to the Jews.
No,
Not
Catholics.
not
Not the
Catholic.
original.
Not Catholic. These are not Catholics yet. Not yet Catholics yet.
Not yet, kasi you need a bridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need a bridge. And so the bridge leads to the new church, Catholic Church, which is a continuation of the Catholic Church.
The truth.
Yes.
Just as the apostles were the continuation of the chosen people who perfected the Old Testament into the New Testament.
Where we can find this new church.
Yeah, we're going to
Right
that.
there. Okay. And then the members, would there be some members of the old church? Yes, because they're not. You're not the ones that are not happy with the institutional church. Will go. Will go.
They will all die out.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the ones that are still members of the old church, the chosen people, are being transferred already.
Okay.
So there will be nothing left there
Of the institute,
who
except.
would belong to the church. In other words, the vineyard will be taken away,
Okay.
really.
In other words, there will be people there,
No more
but there,
church, no
but
more.
that's not the church
No more
anymore.
church,
Okay.
yeah. And that could happen to the Catholic Church, the Vatican Catholic Institutional Church today. That there are only a few that God has chosen, a very few that God has chosen to transfer the vineyard to another Gentile and form the church there. The bridge is itself the church. Just as the apostles were the first members of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
Yes.
Except during that time, the Catholic Church was new, the New Testament. The apostles were new Catholics. They're not old Catholics because
Yes.
that was Old Testament. They were new. Today, there cannot be new Catholics because there is only one New Testament. There is no more newer Testament.
Yes, yes. So it's the same one.
So it has to be a continuation. That bridge has to be a continuation of the apostles.
The teachings of Christ that was
Exactly.
bridged
It
to
has to be. That's why Pope Benedict was emphasizing the hermeneutics of continuity.
Yeah.
Because what he's saying is this church in the Vatican, the present institutional church in the Vatican, probably is no longer the vineyard of the Lord. That God has transferred the vineyard somewhere else, but it's not going to be a new church. It's going to be a continuity of
The
the
true.
Church of Christ.
Father, we have only 1 minute, please.
And so we have to look for that bridge because that is the church, a continuity of the Church of Christ, and it will be pointing towards the new community that will become the Catholic Church.
Thank you very much, Father. That's it, my friend. Spiritual dialogues of Father Don De Castro are like the salt and light of our Lord Jesus Christ, wherein you will be enlightened of his dialogues. See you again next episode, my brothers and sisters. Thank you.